Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video on gunning to Old Trafford and the Anfield Way. As usual, you with me, Mohammed Farid, and let's get into it. Game week 2, some cracking fixtures, but I guess we should start off with game week 1 and just go over my points, which was a bit disappointing this week. And let's look at the league as well, the Gunning to Old Trafford League, and then we'll go into week 2. My picks and my choices. And let's have a look at it. Game week 1, not the greatest week, but seemed to be the same for a lot of people, especially people that went with the template team, which this is very much a template team. Gabriel's probably the one that let me down the most in defense because we would have expected him to start, and they started with Yuri and Timber instead. Good news is, well, not good news, but good news for Gabriel owners is that Gabriel will probably start this week because Yuri and Timber picked up an injury. Very, very sad to see. I think everyone's been excited to watch Yuri and Timber play, and first week into his Arsenal career, and he gets a long-term injury. So bad for Yuri and Timber owners and Yuri and Timber fans, but great for Gabriel fans. Chilwell put in a great performance against Liverpool. I think Chilwell's probably going to play either at a left back or in the midfield like he did as a left winger for Liverpool, but sort of running in between, so from the defense into attack. So I think that's a good enough reason to keep him in your team. And Chelsea's fixtures for the next couple of game weeks look decent. West Ham this week is probably the only one that might be a bit of a long shot, but not bad. Game week 3 is great, game week 4 is great, so if you have Chilwell, keep him, don't get rid of him. Stupinian was absolutely amazing, very impressed with him, so I think he stays in the team for me personally this week, but great performance from him, 7 points. And then let's go into the midfield where I think it was, I expected a lot more points. Bruno Fernandes, Rashford. United didn't have the greatest game against Wolves. Managed to squeak in a win with a Varane header. And Bruno and Rashford, not much by the way of assists or goals or anything of real point scoring chances. But it's too soon to get rid of them, and I think if you're going to panic sell them, you're making a mistake. Much better game, I think, for United against Spurs, and a much better game for Bruno and for Rashford to actually come to the party and score some points. Saka is always Mr. Reliable, Mfana Futi, like Shady calls him, our star boy, did very well, 10 points. Mitoma was the one that I was very happy with, played extremely well for Brighton, and I think he's going to go on to have a great season. And at the price point, it's a no-brainer to keep him in your team. They've got 2 great fixtures coming up, and then game week 4 is probably the one game week you might want to have a look at, either benching him or maybe shipping him out for another player. They've got Newcastle and Man United, and then Bournemouth again. Then there's a bit of a run of fixtures which are not that great, but I think keep him for now. He should get you some good points. Odegaard, not much point scoring as well, but he has a decent run of fixtures coming up, so definitely going to see some points coming in from Odegaard. Haaland is always cheat code for FPL. If you have him in your team, probably the player you want to captain, and being the captain of my team last week, 26 points, incredible performance, and point scoring performance. I wasn't happy with the Man City performance as such. I think it was an easy game, so expected a win for them, but didn't really wow me with anything that they did. I think they just had the legs and managed to outrun them over the 90 minutes. Jackson was one that looked decent against Liverpool. I expect him to do a little bit better in the next game. They've got a great run of fixtures coming up, so I see him maybe scoring some points there. 1 point only against Liverpool, and I think that was the problem with the Liverpool-Chelsea fixture was we knew it was going to be a cagey game. We knew it was going to be a cagey affair, and hence anyone that had any Liverpool assets or any Chelsea assets were taking a bit of a risk. Turner on the other end had a 2-pointer. No one else to worry about. Baldock got 2 as well. If we look at the league, and we're going to go straight into the Gunning to Old Trafford League, so a shout out to Wahid Vardy with 93 points, Mohamed Kota with 92, Yusuf Bayat with 91 points. I think that was a great week for Mr. Vardy. Haaland, Pedro, Madison, Diaz, Saka, Leno being a star performer as well with 12 points. Not the greatest fixtures, I think, for Mr. Vardy coming up, so I'd like to see what changes he makes. We can also look at our friend Mr. Mohamed Kota and what he went with. Most of his points. Okay, his points came all from. Did he triple captain? He triple captain. Mr. Kota, why would you triple captain Haaland in the first week of FPL? You are basically putting yourself in a situation that you've basically lost one of your wildcards for the rest of the Premier League season. But hey, it got you 92 points this week. Enjoy that. I don't see you going up. I think you would probably drop unless something miraculous happens, and you've got Mr. Kevin De Bruyne in your team who's also out. Great response from the league. I think it is absolutely amazing the amount of people we've got in the league. So guys, please jump in. The code for the league is in the previous video, so if you need that, just go back to a video there. And then let's get into my game week 2 team. I'm going to start Turner for this one, just because I think it's a game against Sheffield United. Possibility to get a lot of saves, maybe sneak a win, and maybe get extra points there. Pickford's got a game against Villa, which I think is going to be tough, and that is probably going to be, not tough. It's going to be a tough game for Pickford, so I don't see him getting a clean sheet. So I think it's more of a risk with Turner, but it's a good risk to take. I think he gets some saves, and they might just squeeze a 0-0 draw, or even maybe a win. So let's see. I hope this works out for me. Sticking with Chilwell at the back, sticking with Estupinian. Gabriel, I think, starts. So I'm sticking with that defense, 3 in defense. Midfield, I need to really perform this week. Odegaard, Rashford, Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Mitoma. Nothing changed from last week. I'm letting my transfer roll this week. If anything, next week I'd probably look at maybe bringing in another midfield, depending on how the performance goes this week. So I think players to think about maybe shipping out would either be a Bruno, Odegaard, or Mitoma. We'll see, because Mitoma's fixtures are not that great. Bruno, I want to give him this week and see how it goes. Hopefully he comes clutch. Odegaard's usually consistent, but if he doesn't really score me points, I'm probably going to switch over to Martinelli, and we'll see how that goes. So I'll have 2 transfers next week, and I'll make that choice then. Haaland captain again. Newcastle, tough game. I actually predict that Newcastle could cause an upset here, but then Haaland still probably scores a goal. I think if Newcastle causes an upset, it's probably going to be like a 2-1 or 3-2 or something of that sort. And I think Haaland scores or maybe even gets an assist. So probably safe bet there. I would maybe think about Saka as captain against Crystal Palace. For now, I'm keeping it at Haaland until the press conferences. So if I hear anything, I might change that. And my bench stays the same. And guys, I think that's it for this week. Game week 2 is going to be an interesting one. It's still very early on, guys, so don't do any panic buying or any panic selling. If you've got anything above the average points, which was 64 points this week, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. If you got less than the average points for this week, then I would start worrying about bringing in other players. You're probably only going to have 1 transfer this week, and if you need to do it, make it a good one. Some players to look out for, probably Ollie Watkins, In midfield, Martinelli definitely. Nketiah from Arsenal could be one to look at as well if you need a forward. At the back, it's probably going to be Botman, and Reece James is one. I'm hearing stories about Reece James has picked up an injury, which is why I wouldn't look at transferring him in. There's talks that it was literally him just being tired from the game at Liverpool, so I don't know. I'm not willing to take a chance on Reece James. I'd look at maybe a Botman as a cheap defender to bring in if you need one. And Stones, I've got on my bench, who is probably someone I could start if anything comes up, like a Gabriel maybe not playing. I'll probably move Stones in. And yeah, guys, that's your FPL show for this week. Sweet and short. Let's see what happens with the scores. If you don't know, I lost the first game week in the Gunning to Old Trafford Challenge. Video should be dropping tomorrow. Today's Friday, so tomorrow Saturday, just before the Liverpool game. Watch it. It's a fun one. Don't ever call me a spoil sport. I did what I did. I backed up my words. I did what I was supposed to do. And yeah, the things I do for content, guys. Probably the most traumatizing experience of my entire Liverpool life. But it was a fun one. I hope you guys enjoy it. See you on the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Enfield Way, Gunning to Old Trafford. Shoutouts to EB, shoutouts to Shady, shoutouts to the rest of the guys that help us out on both channels. And we'll see you guys again next week. Bye.